There is basically a piano concerto called Boom of the Tingling Strings and a string suite called Disguises. Four movements in the piano concerto and 3 movements in the string suite. I read a poem by, of all people, D.H. Lawrence, who, you know, don't expect him to write sort of pretty little poems, but it was a poem about childhood, and it was called Piano, and it was really about his looking back and remembering being a child and sitting while his mother played the piano. And he in the poem he says, sitting under the piano, so it must have been a grand piano presumably, in the boom of the tingling strings, which I thought was a rather splendid line. And having wanted to write a piece of piano and orchestra for some time, and yet not having quite the right hook to hang it all on, this, you know, pressed a button for me, and I started to think about the piece in a more autobiographical way, such as the poem was, and I decided that that should be the title of the piece, and that that should be the structure of the piece. Would be a sort of a journey. The first movement is very much an attempt to describe the world of the poem, which describes old evenings at home, you know, winter evenings with the fire, and you know, and mother at the piano and all that kind of thing, which is very close to a memory or two that I have of my childhood. Although it was probably my auntie at the piano, not my mother, who didn't play the piano. So, but it's a link for me into a sort of a vanished past, which one does feel a sort of nostalgia for. And the poem mentions hymn tunes being played, and so I've tried to write a tune in the opening movement which is sort of has a hymnal quality to it. But then I take it into the second movement, which is more like my journey onwards from my hometown of Leicester, but down to London, where things hotted up a bit, and you know, that might be seen as the journey through those early years in London. The third movement is a more rural, almost like a walk in the countryside, which is something I enjoy doing, but it also seemed like a good place to celebrate that love. And then the final movement is really just the antithesis of Lawrence's poem, because his poem ends in being cast down by the past, in sort of you know, sadness, when nostalgia overtakes him. I think he mentions also weeping for the past. But you can't live in the past. You can learn from it, but you have to just get on and move forward. So the last movement is all about forward movement. Well, it's 3 portraits. It's three pictures in music of 3 people that are seminal in my life. And these people are Sir Malcolm Arnold, who first conducted the concerto for Group and Orchestra for me all those years ago, 1969, and in one fell swoop changed my life by agreeing A, to do it, and B, to becoming a friend of mine, as it were, and I wanted to celebrate that that friendship. The second one is a portrait of my late mother, who, as I say, she disguised herself somewhat. Her view of the face she presented to the world was one of, oh yes dear, everything's fine, you know, and all that, but there was a much more complicated woman underneath. I wanted to end with the last movement of the string suite. I wanted it to be some sort of bucolic deal, and so a dear friend of mine was chosen as, but I've let him remain anonymous. I've used only his initials, because I've called the movement Il Buffone, which although it doesn't mean the buffoon, it means the clown, and this man is very much capable of clowning, and I need his friendship sometimes when the world looks a bit grey, and then he comes along and makes it all seem better. Although he himself disguises his a much more wistful and deeper way of looking at the world behind this this bucolic front. So that's why they're all disguises. What it's done is it's put me on a level which I now recognise. I don't really care what other people think, because I believe very strongly that I've done something direct from my heart, which I hopefully will go direct to the heart of the listener, and it describes very succinctly, I hope, in musical terms, a kind of a journey. So it puts me very strongly where I am now for myself. I feel comfortable, confident in being labelled a composer. I mean, a few years ago I would have said, "Oh no, I'm just a writer. You know, I'm just." But you know, composer is quite a nice title, and I've now got 3 or 4 fairly substantial works under my belt, and it's a journey that I'm still on. I'm not going to stop now. I've got other stuff I want to write. I'm actually being asked to write certain things for certain people, which is always nice. You know, it's just, what is it? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So.